When you finally walk away, something shifts inside her. She may act like she doesn't care, but behind the scenes, her mind starts racing. The silence, the absence. It all hits her harder than she expected. The longer you stay away, the more she starts to question everything. But here's the real question. How long before she breaks, and what should you do next? Stay tuned, because this is where the real power begins. 1. The mind games women play. Why is she testing you? Women often test men without even realizing it. These tests aren't about manipulation, they're about confirmation, confirming whether or not you are the man she truly desires. At first, she might be affectionate, responsive, and consistent. Then, out of nowhere, she pulls back. She stops texting first, takes longer to reply, or starts acting distant. Most men panic at this stage. They chase harder, trying to figure out what went wrong. But this is the mistake. The moment a woman senses you are reacting to her shift in behavior, she feels a sense of control. She realizes you are emotionally dependent on her actions, and that's when she loses respect for you. The men who pass the test do something different. They don't react at all. They don't ask her what's wrong. They don't double text, and they certainly don't beg for her attention. They remain calm, unbothered, and focused on their own lives. A woman expects a man to react to her withdrawal. When you don't, it confuses her. She starts to wonder if she ever had control over you in the first place, and this is when the shift happens. Suddenly, she's the one questioning her position. 2. Why walking away works. The psychology behind it. Women are attracted to certainty, a man who knows what he wants and does not seek constant approval. When you make yourself too available, you remove the challenge that naturally sparks attraction. Think about the relationships in your life. You don't truly value something until there is a risk of losing it. If something is always there, you take it for granted. But the moment it disappears, you realize how much it meant to you. This is what happens when you walk away. At first, she may act like she doesn't care. She tells herself you'll be back. She assumes you will check in, send a text, or ask why she's acting differently. But when you do none of that, something shifts in her mind. She starts wondering, did he lose interest? Was I wrong about him? Did I misjudge his value? And that's when curiosity turns into regret. Walking away isn't about being manipulative, it's about maintaining your self-respect. The man who walks away signals strength, self-worth, and confidence is what women respect the most. 3. The biggest mistake men make when she plays games. Most men, when faced with a woman's mixed signals, respond emotionally. They chase, seek reassurance, or try to fix the situation. This approach backfires every time. The second you start questioning her behavior, sending more messages, or confronting her about her distance, she instinctively loses attraction. Why? Because you have shown her that her actions control your emotions. Common mistakes men make include texting first every time. This shows you are too available, and asking her what's wrong, which puts her in control of the situation. Trying to reason with her emotions won't work. Women don't operate on logic when it comes to attraction. The correct response: silence and indifference. A high-value man doesn't play games, he simply doesn't engage with them. If a woman is playing with your emotions, the best move is to remove yourself from the equation. The moment she realizes you are no longer reacting, she begins to wonder why. That's when the balance of power shifts in your favor. The silent power of disappearing. What she feels inside. Silence is one of the most powerful tools a man can use. Most people think words are the strongest form of communication, but in reality, absence speaks louder than any message. When you stop texting, calling, or seeking her attention, You create a void, a space where she expects your presence but finds nothing. That emptiness starts to affect her. At first, she brushes it off. She assumes you are busy or maybe distracted. But as the hours turn into days, doubt sets in. She starts checking her phone more frequently, rewatching old conversations, and wondering why you suddenly vanished. Women don't miss men because of their words. They miss men because of how those men made them feel. When you remove yourself, she is left with nothing but memories. And memories, when revisited, are 10 times more powerful than present reality. A woman only realizes the depth of her feelings when you are no longer there to give her the emotional validation she once had. This is why walking away isn't about playing games. It's about showing her that you were never dependent on her in the first place. And that realization is what keeps you in her mind long after you've gone. 5. How to make her chase you without saying a word. A man who understands his worth does not chase a woman who pulls away. Instead, he becomes more focused on his own mission, growth, and success. Women respect men who do not need them for validation. The second she realizes you are completely fine without her, she feels an emotional shift. She goes from thinking, "I have him wrapped around my finger," to, "Why isn't he trying to get me back?" And eventually, "Did I make a mistake?" Women are attracted to strength, not just physical strength, but emotional discipline. When you stop giving her your time and energy, she starts wondering why she ever had your attention in the first place. How do you make her chase you? Stop giving free attention. No likes, no texts, no calls. Stay focused on your own life and become the man you were meant to be. Let her reach out first. If she truly values you, she will, and if she doesn't, you never needed her in the first place. This is the power of a man who understands his value. 6. When your absence becomes her obsession. At first, she convinces herself she doesn't care. She tells herself that she's fine and never needed you in the first place. But as time passes, something changes. The silence you created starts to get louder. She begins checking her phone instinctively, scrolling through old messages and reminiscing about the attention and validation you used to give her. At night, when things are quiet, her mind starts racing with thoughts she never had before. Why isn't he reaching out? Did he find someone better? Was I not good enough? The power shift happens the moment she starts missing your presence. Not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel. And that's what most men don't realize. It's not about texting her the perfect message or making some grand romantic gesture. It's about being so valuable that when you remove yourself, your absence creates a void. She will start looking for clues, watching your stories, asking mutual friends about you, maybe even posting things just to get your attention. But the key here is to do nothing. Let her feel the emptiness you left behind. 7. The turning point. When she realizes she lost you. A woman only truly values a man when she realizes he is no longer an option. At first, she might have thought she had the upper hand. Maybe she played games, acted distant, or even made you feel like you weren't important. But when you don't react, when you remain calm and composed, she starts to rethink everything. This is when regret kicks in. Suddenly, she remembers all the good times. She remembers your confidence, your strength, the way you made her feel safe, and the way you never needed her but chose to be with her. Women respect men who have options but don't settle for less. When you disappear without a fight, she starts to realize she was replaceable, but you weren't. The biggest mistake men make at this stage is caving in too soon. Most men lose their leverage the moment they see a sign that she's thinking about them. They respond to a story, like a post, or send a text just to check in. Don't do this. Let her wonder. The longer she goes without hearing from you, the stronger her emotions will become. And when she finally does reach out, you will have the upper hand. 8. The psychological shift that brings her back. Women are wired for emotional investment. They need to feel connected, engaged, and emotionally stimulated. When you pull away and go completely silent, you trigger something deep inside her, a fear of loss. It's not just about missing you, it's about realizing she no longer has control over you. That's when the shift happens. When her brain stops focusing on the things she didn't like about you and starts romanticizing the past, she begins thinking about the little things you did for her, the way you made her laugh, the security she felt when she was around you. Even if the relationship wasn't perfect, her mind will filter out the bad parts and make her believe that losing you was a mistake. This is why silence is so powerful. When you disappear, she doesn't just miss you, she starts craving you, and the moment she reaches that point, she will find an excuse to reconnect. But here's the key. You don't give her what she expects. She expects you to jump at the chance to have her back. Instead, you remain calm, composed, and unaffected. This is what keeps her hooked. 9. What to do when she finally reaches out. After days, weeks, or even months, she will break. She might text something simple like, "Hey, how have you been? I was just thinking about you. I hope you're doing okay." It won't be some grand apology. It will be subtle, almost casual. But don't be fooled. She is testing to see if you are still emotionally invested. This is where most men fail. The average guy sees this message and immediately starts texting her paragraphs, reminiscing about old times and seeking to rekindle things. But you don't do that. You stay calm, you stay composed, and most importantly, you don't jump at the chance to reconnect. This test is meant to see if you still value yourself and your time. By not reacting too quickly, you show her that you are not desperate and that your time is valuable. 10. Moving forward, like a high-value man. Whether she comes back or not, one thing remains the same. You never chase. Your life should be about growth, improvement, and leveling up. The moment a woman realizes you are thriving without her, she will feel the full weight of her loss. A high-value man does not beg for attention, wait around for a woman's validation, or make decisions based on temporary emotions. Instead, he focuses on his goals and ambitions, stays in control of his emotions, and surrounds himself with positive energy and new opportunities. When you walk away and never look back, you become unforgettable. Women don't remember the guys who begged for another chance. They remember the men who had the strength to walk away and never needed them again. So the next time you feel the urge to reach out, remind yourself your silence is your power. 11. The silent influence. How she sees you now. The moment you walk away, you stop being predictable. Women are used to men chasing, apologizing, and trying to fix things. But when you go silent, you break that pattern. You become the man who is different, the one who doesn't beg, the one who doesn't try to prove his worth. This is what makes her start seeing you in a different light. She begins to wonder, did I underestimate him? Was he always this confident? Why does he seem so unaffected? This curiosity is powerful. The more she thinks about you, the more she starts to realize that she may have taken you for granted. She sees you as someone who has options, someone strong enough to leave when he's not being valued. At this point, it's no longer about if she will come back, but how much time it will take for her to break. The key here is mystery. Men who are too available lose their value fast because there's nothing left for a woman to uncover. But when you remove yourself from the equation, she is forced to confront the emptiness left behind. It doesn't matter how strong she thinks she is. Silence triggers deep psychological discomfort. When you break the cycle of always being there, you become the question she needs answered. And as long as she's questioning, she's thinking about you. 12. The hidden pain of losing a strong man. Here's a truth most men don't realize. Women don't regret losing weak men. They only regret losing men who had real value. When you walk away, she doesn't just lose you. She loses the emotional security you provided, the attention and validation you gave her, and the confidence she felt knowing you wanted her. At first, she tries to act like she doesn't care. She might post pictures, go out with friends, or even start talking to someone new. But deep down, something feels off. What she doesn't realize until it's too late is this: it's not about losing a guy. It's about losing a man who truly stood out. That pain lingers longer than she ever expected. The reason why women regret losing certain men and not others has everything to do with investment. She might have thought you'd always be there. She might have assumed you'd keep chasing. But now she's watching you move on without her, and that realization hits differently. Her pride won't let her admit it at first, but as time passes and she interacts with other men who don't have the same presence, the regret starts creeping in. Women don't feel the loss of a man all at once. It happens slowly, like an itch she can't scratch, until one day she realizes the itch has become a wound she can't ignore. 13. Why her pride keeps her from reaching out. Even when she starts missing you, she might hesitate to reach out. Why? Because her ego is in the way. She knows that if she messages you first, she's admitting that she made a mistake. She's giving you the power, and most women struggle with that. So instead, she waits. She hopes you will cave first. She might post things that are meant to get your attention. She might accidentally like an old post or watch your stories without saying anything. These are all tests. She's trying to see if you will break first. But here's the secret. The longer you hold out, the stronger your position becomes. At some point, she will have no choice but to drop her pride and admit what she's been feeling all along. She still wants you. This is where most men make a mistake. They see a small sign of interest and jump right back into the old patterns. But here's what you need to remember. A woman's desire grows when you remain calm, confident, and unaffected. The power of your absence. In your absence, not your presence. The longer you hold your position, the deeper her emotions go. If she truly wants you back, she'll make it unmistakably clear. 15. Your next move: never chase. Again. The ultimate lesson here is simple. Women only value what they have to work for. The moment you start chasing, over-explaining, or seeking her validation, you lose your power. But when you walk away with confidence and never look back, you become the man she never forgets. So if you ever find yourself in this situation again, remember this: your silence is your strength. Your ability to walk away is your leverage, and your self-respect is what separates you from every other man she's met. Because at the end of the day, a woman will only truly miss the man who was strong enough to let her go. And when she realizes that, she won't be able to stop thinking about you. Before you go, remember this: true power isn't in chasing, it's in knowing your worth. If you found value in this, you'll probably want to check out the next video on your screen. It's exactly what you need to see next. Click it now.